Welcome back to Character Select. Dave Scow Kinathis. Back for more Ratchet and Clank rock hunting.
Romet and Trunk.
Rock hunting. This is gonna be a long one.
Yeah. So to movies.
To movies.
One of my favorite historical movies is actually just a martial arts movie.
Okay. And Enter the Dragon?
Basically all of the advanced stuff is all about, like...
Plasma Storm.
British occupation.
Oh, cool.
Well, not just British occupation, I suppose it's war occupation in general is like a running theme, and technically a lot of the people who ended up in all of that martial arts stuff, they happened to be either like ex-soldiers or deserters in the instances of being in gangs. And a lot of the upper class that's presented in like all of those sort of Ip Man and Bruce Lee and all that stuff, like they are either imperialist, like Japanese armed forces, or dissidents educated by British, like foreign diplomats and stuff.
Huh. I did not know that.
Like in Ip Man, like one of the few things that you see them do is like, as a source of entertainment, is go to see a play and listen to a old school record player, and of course it's playing like Tchaikovsky and just insert all classics here,
right?
Like all of that stuff.
Huh.
And so it's like all of the civilized groups in general, well, the baddies in a lot of martial arts stuff, but they're still like this really prettified version of what was a real history.
Huh. Interesting.
And then the latest ones, which are hilariously stated as having nothing to do with actual history, quote unquote something China. It's really, really funny that they've put like these disclaimers in,
right? Because
China's skin is getting paperier and paperier by the year.
Sad but true. Kinathis, what about you? Did you already say your favorite historical movie? I honestly don't remember.
Yeah, National Treasure.
National Treasure, that's right. Just random ass platinum bolt out here for some reason.
Yep.
I think if I had to say my favorite historical movie, specifically a movie, because obviously I asked the question without thinking about my answer. Like, I'm tempted to say Saving Private Ryan, but it's not. Saving Private Ryan is a good movie, but it's not my favorite historical movie.
Black Hawk Down.
Alright, you guys need to fucking fuck off, please. Also, I love the fact that the Plasma Storm is literally a BFG 10K.
Yeah.
From Quake. Where it's just, it shoots and... Yeah, that's awesome.
Oh, here's something that I've been listening to like as recently as literally today. Twilight Zone.
Ooh.
Old 1950s Twilight Zone.
I
think that it is incredibly interesting storytelling, and in particular, I'm listening to radio versions of them. Still 1950s era, but I don't have any visuals to go off of as well.
Right.
And so it's like all in studio Foley work, etc. All the classics are in it, like the man who lives in the world of books. I know it got joked about in Futurama, where he's finally like, "Oh no, I've lost my glasses, I can't read. Oh, well, there's still the large print. Oh no, I've lost my eyes, I can do Braille. My hands!" Like, the original story for that, though, the way that it's put together is super interesting.
Yeah, because the whole point is that he's tired of people bothering him when he just wants to read books. And then...
No, that's not what that story is.
Did I misjudge it?
No.
Oh my god.
Yeah, have you listened to or seen it before?
I've seen it, but it was so long ago and I was a kid, so I don't really remember what happened.
The point of it is that when he first gets called out on his habit, he's referred to by people as a reader, an idealist, not a realist, and he's spending time around people who don't quite understand his interests.
Gotcha.
And he's in a really unhealthy married relationship, and he works as a bank teller, and his boss is just a prick. And he's in these uncomfortable situations when, yeah, his main point of interacting with other people is to talk about stuff that he's read in books.
Ah.
Which, of course, you know, he loves to read them, but his wife thinks that that's not a very good thing to do.
Right. Everybody's watching the TVs now.
Yeah, or going out and playing Jim Rummy and all that shit, you know, like going out and meeting all of our friends, and it makes him really sad, essentially, whenever she's like, well, it's time for you to, you know, go and interact with these people you don't like. He's like, oh, okay, cool. Awesome.
Great. Something I don't want to do. Hooray.
Yeah. And the one time he sounds really excited is when his horrible bitch of a wife says, like, what is it that you've got there? And he's like, oh, this one here is a book of poetry. And she gives him, like, this really sincere and sweet, like, would you like to read a poem for me? And he's so excited to do so. Like, he goes, oh, of course, I would love to. There are so many to choose from. She goes, well, go ahead and choose one. And you hear, and again, this is I'm hearing a radio style, I can hear him open the book up. Oh, no, you don't.
No, it's fine. I did that on purpose. I needed ammo.
Yeah, you hear him. I hear him open that book. I'm like, "What's wrong here?" And then there's this pause, and this scrap, and this paper is moving. And he's like, oh, "What have you done?" And his horrible cunt of a wife ripped all the paper out of his.
Oh my god! What?
A book of poetry.
Wow!
And so the moment he was excited to recount this information to her, like to tell her poetry and engage with his wife on a social level, even at all, it was just a horrible prank by his bitch of a wife.
What
bitch.
a horrible person. Jesus.
Yeah, that's really, really mean. Good lord.
So then when everybody does disappear and he goes to the library and all he wants to do is read, and then he can't, it's horribly tragic.
Yeah, and before he reaches the point of going to the library, like, he's looking around and going, I have nobody to talk to, and he's really beat up about it until the realization comes that at least he can read all of these books. There's food here, he can relax, have a smoke, read books, go to a library, read all of these books until he's dead. That's fantastic. But it also still takes him, like, 5 solid minutes of, like, social trauma until he realizes that it was talking about books that he enjoyed in the first place.
Right. Honestly, I think that's true of a lot of habits where it's not necessarily, and I feel like this is why a hobby is a hobby. It's not necessarily that you enjoy doing it, although that definitely is part of it, but it's you enjoy sharing it. That makes it a hobby rather than just a thing that you do.
Dave, we're literally sitting in the example of that.
Hey,
right
welcome
now.
to Gaming Select, everybody.
Yeah!
Yay!
So that's what's happening at this moment in time, is that we're having conversations about our hobbies and taking part in a group activity.
Yep.
You hit the nail on the head right there.
I mean, I've probably played a more diverse array of games in the years that we've done this show than I had in...
Oh god, it's getting brighter.
The years before... What are you talking about, it's getting brighter?
If you pause the screen while the monster has its mouth open and is like charging its attack just gets brighter and brighter and brighter. Until it reaches its maximum.
It's just kind of big.
But it does it while you're paused.
Huh. Weird.
And then immediately goes off. It's like the attack doesn't quite stop happening, even though you have paused the game.
I also have to say that I really don't like the fact that I can't lock onto that guy. It's very frustrating.
Yeah.
It's like, you need to look up. I'm like, I'm under attack by millions of fucking Yeti at the moment. I don't have time to look up at shit.
There are probably about 1 million Yetis in this map.
How are you... This is not how predation works. Jesus.
What do the Yetis eat?
Each other at this point.
I guess they have to eat each other.
somebody comes along and kills a giant snake lizard, or a snake laser thing, and they're like, we're gonna be eating good for months. And then, like, the next day, it's like, yeah, it's nice to eat something new, but I want to go back to my old standby of cannibalism.
Mmm, juicy.
The other white meat. There's two?
The whitest meat.
Thank God for S.H.I.E.L.D., I'll tell you what.
Yeah, it's great. Comes in handy.
What's your gear experience looking like?
Bouncer is almost up there. S.H.I.E.L.D. is actually going up, which is kind of impressive.
You know, I feel like the shield gets EXP just by being used, by, like, absorbing damage.
That is
Which would make
entirely
sense
possible,
for
yeah.
it.
Not to say.
Because there's no way it's killed a lot of stuff here.
Right.
But it's gained a lot of EXP here.
There we go.
It's dealt damage more than it's done kills.
Yes.
I don't know.
Oh,
I
well,
wonder
I'm
if-
dead.
And that's
Oh,
why
you
I
touched
told
the
you
ice.
not to
Yeah.
touch the water.
It's true.
Yeah.
And now I can get more ammo, so we're good.
All water is instant death on this.
Yeah. That makes sense. It's a little bit freezy weasels.
It's a little bit super cold.
Alright, so I can already tell you what my answer is going to be, but why don't you both tell me what your favorite horror movie is?
Oh god. Horror movie?
Yep, and I will give you my answer immediately. I don't like horror movies. So, none of them?
I like horror movies just fine. And I do occasionally go through stints where I will, like, watch like 5 or 6 horror movies on a streaming service.
I feel like at that point you would just get numb to it, though, wouldn't you?
They do it does get to a point where I start to get unnerved by horror movies.
Yeah.
But that's takes a little bit, and that's why I watch like 5 or 6. I watch them until my resistance has been worn down.
Yeah.
That makes sense, actually.
My favorite.
Now, if you said, what's your...
I don't know why my brain has failed me on the name.
Was that a horror movie? I guess that's a psychological horror movie.
Psychological horror is still horror.
Is that my favorite, though? I did like it a lot. Yeah, you know what? No. I'll say that's my favorite. I have a hard time picking a favorite horror movie. I could give like a top 3.
Scream. Okay.
I think Scream is my favorite, because that one really is, like, that is a horror film that is fun enough to play with all of the tropes and not do it really, really cheesy.
Right.
The first Scream movie.
It knows what, it knows what it's doing, and it specifically points out what it's doing, and it doesn't matter. The heavy oh my god! It's
very
so much
big.
better!
They're very tick boys.
Oh, it kills these
I think the
bastards
first
so
Scream
The
good.
bombs are now very
Fantastic.
large.
Yeah, Scream I can...
You went right by a couple of
Yeah,
missiles.
Scream I can understand, actually. I mean... It's definitely not my... Wouldn't be my choice, but...
Well, you've already said that you didn't have a choice because you don't like them, but obviously you've made viewership, so I suppose what is your least objectionable horror film?
Stir of Echoes.
Okay.
Kevin Bacon, just absolutely nailing the idea of somebody slowly going crazy because suddenly he can see ghosts. Beautiful.
Yeah.
That movie is great. Would you stop?
Don't do that. Do not pull that gun out on this planet, please, Dave.
It's fine.
Let's see here. I think the first Saw movie is excellent. I don't think it's a horror
think-
more in the realm
the
of
first
thriller.
Saw
but
movie is really good.
It is
I
excellent.
think we talked about it on the last time we were doing a Crystal Crawl, where we were talking about how Saw
Yeah.
is two people in a room with a voice, and it's fucking fabulous.
Yeah, it's just two people in a room for the whole movie, basically, and it's amazing.
It literally doesn't need to be more than that.
No, not even a little bit.
Honestly, I think I'm more impressed by horror movies that do an incredible amount with literally nothing than I am with movies that do a lot with a big budget, you know?
Is it unfair to say Alien?
No, Alien is absolutely a horror movie.
It's very much a horror movie, yeah.
Well, okay, let me rephrase. Alien is absolutely a horror movie right up until you actually see the alien on screen and you realize, oh, that's kind of just a guy in a suit. But everything up to and after that point, absolutely a horror movie.
There's a lot of really good horror movies. And they're usually the ones that are not the most, like, ridiculous. Like, they're none of the ridiculous ones. Like, or any of, like, the long sequel movie, like, franchises.
Saw 3, 4, 7, 12, 19.
If there
what
is
about, what was it?
If there is a long train of sequels, it's always, like, the first one is really good, but then after that it just gets bad. Like
They've got money and they expect you to just do it again somehow.
Because, like...
The Cabin in the Woods is a great...
That's not so much a horror movie. That's a deconstruction of horror movies, though.
Yeah, true.
But it's... except for the fact that it's Jomps Wabin. It's still...
Yeah, he jumps the heck out of some lemons.
That movie is like, what if we made a movie that's like kind of like the SCP universe?
Well, Cabin in the Woods is what if we made a movie about horror movies that explained why horror movies exist?
Yeah.
Why is it always 5 people with the same kind of freaking temperaments showing up in some random cabin way out in the middle of nowhere? That's Cabin in the Woods.
Because their whole thing is like everything that they do, that whole thing is a ritual to appease a thing, some unknowable thing, an elder god, and that's I've been watching a lot of SCP stuff, if you know what that is, Dave.
Oh, yeah. It's Secure, Contain, Protect, I know.
Yeah, I've been watching a bunch of them, and there was one article that kind of is exactly like that. It's about this creature that you can't be contained, but it can only be contained in one way, and that is for people to do this ridiculous and seemingly unlinked chain of
random
actions, but all of it comes together under this like idea that it's a ritual, and because of the nature of this like god creature, because it sees that the people are doing this ritual to contain it, it can't actually even fathom the idea of escaping from them because they're doing this ritual. But the ritual is just a bunch of bullshit that they came up with.
Nobody tell the elder god the truth.
It's the idea behind the ritual that is what actually has any power over the thing.
God, a lot of SCP's writing is like...
Some of it's really good, some of it's not great.
Some of it's really unsettling. Some of it's emotionally compromising. Like the teddy bear who makes sick kids feel better.
Oh god, that one is just brutal. What about the bowl of soup?
Oh, the bowl of soup!
I read that and I actually started sobbing. Like, I'm not even kidding. I started crying as soon as I started reading that article.
Alright, tell me about the bowl of soup. Give me the synopsis.
The bowl of soup is it's a bowl that
of soup?
when put down in front of a person, it will fill with soup. And but for some people, a lot of people, it doesn't do anything. But if you're a young person, if you're young, the soup will have a contenting effect on you.
It will make you feel good.
It will make minor like injuries or minor ailments go away by the time you're finished eating it.
That's kind of cool.
Some adults will also feel this effect, but most of them, if you're over 18, will start eating the soup, but then stop, expressing a feeling that it's just kind of missing something.
Uh-huh.
However, when you eat the soup and finish it, there's oftentimes a message written down at the very bottom. And sometimes it doesn't make sense unless you dive deep into the life of the person and find out the relationship that they have with their parents, and especially their father.
Okay.
Because the message is often a reflection of their relationship with their father.
Oh God! And there's one where it's a terminal patient had the soup, and their father had been passed away before they'd even gotten a chance to know them properly.
Mm-hmm.
Like a child who was living with their mother, and their parents were divorced at the end, and hadn't talked to their father in a long time. The response, the writing at the bottom of the soup bowl was, "I'm sorry."
Aww.
Yeah, there are some very emotionally compromising ones.
Yeah.
And then there are some ridiculous ones, like Pizza Day. Which is a room in your office that, when observed, appears to be going through Pizza Day. The pizza will never be successfully served to you in time.
Oh, unfortunate.
You will be too late to get pizza during Pizza Day when you're in the Pizza Day room.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
Which I think actually they use in the SCP video game as well. Or video games. If as you go through the office, one of the rooms will actually have like flyers and banners up for pizza, and it will say that they're all out of pizza. This is in the middle of a containment breach, of course.
There was in the soup bowl. There was one person that was really interesting, and it was a man who had just a year before murdered his father.
Oof.
And had gone to jail. And he ate the soup. He started eating the soup, but after a few bites, he started complaining that his stomach was hurting and that it was giving him like cramps. And then when they disposed of the soup, the bowl filled with salt water instead.
That's freaky.
Yes.
Honestly, most of SCP is freaky. Actually, the one that I always think of is, I don't remember the number. It is, most of the entry is redacted, and it's literally a document that says we need to get a D-class personnel, a prisoner, basically, death row inmate, to...
D-classes are... They aren't considered death row inmates, although they are dressed, obviously, in full orange death row, and they don't have any personal rights.
Right.
They are known as missing or gone individuals.
Right.
They are non-people, not just
right.
exclusively.
But basically, if you're a D-class personnel, you are disposable. But it's like, yeah, you have to explain to the D-class personnel what they're going to go into that room and do. No, you do not have the option of not explaining it. They must know it is part of the process. Then they have to redact it. They must ignore her crying at this point and complete the process, no matter how much they may complain.
Right,
it's
that
like,
one.
And I'm like, that's the top of the document, and it gets worse from there. And I'm like, what? And you're like, I don't know what they're doing to this girl, but I guarantee that what I've got in my mind is far worse than what it actually is. And it's like, and then
the redaction makes it brutal.
And then once they're done, everybody has to take amnesiacs.
Amnesiacs, yeah.
And it's like, oh boy, that's fucked up. And the whole thing is redacted so that there's no explanation for why either.
Why or what?
Yeah, it's like, you don't know what they're doing to her. You know that it is terrible. You know that it's
terrible.
You know that they cannot make her forget about it because there's specifically a thing that says, don't give her amnesiacs. It means that the process isn't going to work.
I know the one you're talking about.
I don't remember what SCP number it is. I honestly don't know.
No, I don't remember the number, but
yeah, but
it's there. She's part of a set of 7, and
she's the last one left.
The last one left.
Yeah.
And if something about them giving birth and stuff, but as long as they're being tormented, they don't.
Yeah. But
so they have to
it's
keep
all
tormenting this person.
Yeah, but it's all redacted. You have no idea why they're doing it. It's just terrible. And I'm like, okay, SCP is not my kind of world. Closest I want to get to that is Control, alright? Oh, that's gonna end.
Oh god, what was, there's the SCP that's a girl who's inside a book. A picture book.
Oh, yeah, that one.
Oh, and she didn't know she was an SCP for the longest time, and she became like despondent and incredibly depressed upon realizing that she wasn't real, couldn't interact with her friends, and was in fact like a drawing on a book. Until they figured out that they could put her page next to other books and she could visit these stories. And they could draw like play sets for her and stuff for her to do.
That's cool. But then, of course, being the SCP Foundation, they probably don't do it very often.
I don't know. I believe in a case for a lot of stuff like that. Like a lot of the researchers aren't that evil, and as long as something is classified as not being bad, it's considered status quo to take care of them.
Oh, fair. I think it's... What is it, Keter class or Euclid class that's the worst one?
I can't remember. SCP.
I think it's Keter.
Yeah, I think if it's Euclid class or below, and
it's called safe if it's safe.
So there's not many.
Not a lot of them, as you might imagine.
There's neutralized, which is a deceased or inactivated and never activated again SCP.
Right.
There is the safe class, which is treat it well, everything will be fine. Euclids are best stay away. Keter classes are stay well away, and they tend to be going out of their way to hurt you. There are Thormeals, which would be like the suit or the stuffed bear. They are the helping hands. And then there are Apollons, end of the worlds.
Oh, and there's plenty of those.
Oh god, some of the Apollons are awesome.
Yeah. Like, there is some absolutely brilliant creative writing in SCP Foundation.
And then there's a lot of fucking crap.
Yeah, there's, as with all community-driven things, there is some trash in there.
Right. I think one of my favorites...
I love the stories that were miscategorized SCPs, where you can see on the document that it's like, oh yeah, it used to be written down as Euclid, and then it says Apollyon or Archon. Oh, Archon. Archon is the ones where they could theoretically be contained, but you should not do that for whatever reason.
It's probably a bad thing. Don't do it. Don't piss it off, please.
Yeah.
I think the giant snake would be like I'm talking the giant water snake, the huge water snake. I think that one's an Apollyon or an Archon.
That's the one that they use the vomit of to make the amnesiacs.
There's the I remember there's the I don't remember what number it is, but the bottle of pills that heals literally anything in the world.
Oh yeah.
But there's only 6 of them left, so stop using them, you idiots. Or the mask that acts like a person and just wants you to wear it.
The one that shows you the other side. Technically teleports you through space, but if you spend too long on one side, you'll get attacked by monsters. And if you wear it once, they will at least constantly hunt you.
Yeah, SCP is cool. I will admit that SCP is cool. It's terrifying. Don't read it late at night. You'll get paranoid, probably. This one?
Going back to our earlier discussion about what our favorite horror movies are.
Yeah.
I I'm going to put my foot down and say that I think my favorite horror movie is a movie called Pandorum.
Pandorum?
Yeah.
I've heard of that. I have not seen it.
It's a science fiction psychological horror movie about a sleeper ship.
I want to say that there's a game that's called Pandorum too, but I don't think it's
Probably.
related.
No.
Okay. Tell us more.
It's about a sleeper ship that's gone off into space. To your right, there's two more. That's behind you now. To your right. Down the hill. There you go. It's about an Earth sleeper ship, and one person wakes up on it and finds that the whole thing's all completely fucked up. The ship's falling apart, and there's no one else around until he gets contacted by someone else on the ship, and they have to try and figure out what's wrong and why and how to keep the ship working. One person is manning these controls and having to keep his own little workstation powered with a hand crank, and the other person is going around trying to fix the ship because he's an engineer. But things are a little bit weird because there's these, I want to say, mutant creatures on just all over the ship.
Huh. Weird and creepy. Okay.
It is. It's a really. It's a really good movie. I like it a lot.
British-German science fiction horror.
Yeah.
Featuring elements of Lovecraft and survival adventure.
That actually makes me think of another horror movie that I have seen that I acknowledge is good, but not something that I would ever want to watch again. What the hell? What's it called? Shit. It was Lawrence Fishburne and Sam Neill. Event Horizon.
Oh, the classic.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Event Horizon is what if Warhammer 40k The Warp, but in the year 2200.
What if the warp was real? You could even say that it is a part of the 40k universe, and it is just this was humanity's first attempt at faster than light travel, using this. They first time that humanity tapped into this thing to use for fast travel, and it did not work out very well.
Well, hilariously,
it worked out about as well as you think it would have.
Hilariously.
Oh wow! Apparently, Pandorum was a box office flop.
Yeah, it did not go very well, but it is a really good movie. I don't know why. It's one of those movies that just was under-received, and it deserved better.
I'm
going to go ahead and say it's probably because of marketing.
Probably.
It's almost always because of marketing.
Wow, it is I don't know, it's very poorly rated. Maybe I have terrible taste, huh?
I liked that movie a lot.
I honestly don't even listen to the ratings on movies anymore. Especially after I watched the Film Joy series on how we perceive Star Wars. And it was, Star Wars came out, here's what the critics thought, here's, each Star Wars movie. It came out, here's what the critics thought, here's what the audience thought, here's how it did in the box office. So, Empire Strikes Back, everybody agrees now. Excellent Star Wars movie, possibly one of the best. Ends on a cliffhanger, great way to do a movie, all kinds of character building moments, blah, 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 blah. When it came out, critics hated it.
Empire Strikes Back?
Yeah.
Really?
And guess what movie they absolutely loved? Phantom Menace.
Prequels?
Critics loved it, said it was a true return to form, an excellent entry in the Star Wars series, and it's just really?
I don't listen to... I haven't listened to movie critics in forever because they are absolute hacks.
Well, so
I mean, their opinions are for sale, and the critics that most people will go. Yeah, and the critics most people will go to are the ones that they already think will give them a strong review.
Well, so here's my opinion on critics, and my opinion is probably a bit more generous than Scow's.
It's like how the Oscars are a worthless dog shit piece of an organization
Right
now, because all they do are pat each other. It's just a group of people patting each other on the back for doing a good job, and not actually like
rewarding excellence,
awarding excellent movies for being great. No, it's about ego boosting each other, and that's basically it. And just a big circle jerk.
So here's my opinion on critics and critical reviews and stuff like that. Everybody has an opinion.
Wow. You just got fucking annihilated by the double beam.
Yeah, well, it happens. Everybody has an opinion. And critics are not immune to the fact that they have an opinion. But their opinion should not therefore be worth more than anybody else's necessarily. If you want to be a critic, you've got to qualify your opinion to me. And if you fail to do that, I'm not interested. Like, I read Penny Arcade. I've been reading Penny Arcade since, like, 2000, so shortly after it came out.
Same.
I haven't read those comics in forever.
Right, and the comics...
No, I still read them every comic.
I'm actually kind of afraid of reading web comics.
Oh yeah, comics with an ongoing story. If they've been going for more than 5 years, you're fucked. But Penny Arcade...
No, that's not why. That's not why.
No.
That's not why I'm afraid of watching them.
Why?
Because I feel like I'm cursed. Because every time I get my hands into a web series or a comic series or a guilty pleasure of mine that I'm a little ashamed of is fan fiction.
Nothing wrong with fan fiction.
Every single time I start enjoying it, inevitably the same thing happens, and that the whole thing fucking dies. There's a couple that I have.
Be safe with Penny Arcade, but that's.
There's a couple of long-running ones that have hundreds and hundreds of pages. Fucking gaunt, fucked. Hasn't updated in years. In like 2 years almost now. This one I really liked, but it's like I check back every 3 months and it's like nope, still nothing. Still nothing.
That sucks.
It sucks a lot. There was one super long-running webcomic that I watched, and it did finish. Over 1,000 pages, and the guy finished it, and it didn't just go on and on and on. It actually finished. It had an ending, and I was like, this is great.
Where the hell did those snakes go? Sorry. What comic was that?
8-Bit Theater.
8-Bit Theater is fabulous. And iconic.
Oh, yeah.
Sadly, that's how a lot of people see Final
webcomic.
Fantasy 1 now, and I'm like, you're going to be disappointed when you play the game, but okay.
I loved Final Fantasy 1.
Oh, yeah.
A lot. I really liked that game.
But to go back to my original point, I read Penny Arcade not necessarily for the comic. Like, I enjoy the comic every so often, and sometimes it's funny, and sometimes I'm like, I don't get it. But the reason that I read Penny Arcade is because I find that I agree with Jerry Holskins, Tycho, the guy that writes the blurb.
Is he the one who's an idiot? He's not the one who's an idiot, right?
No, he's the guy that's very erudite.
Is he the straight man? He's the straight man.
He's erudite as fuck. Well, I mean, they switch back and forth in the comic,
mean?
but yeah, he's...
I guess they do kind of switch, yeah.
Alright, wake up, fuckers. But I find that I agree with his opinion a lot, and sometimes he'll point me towards games that I've never heard of and never thought of playing. And I'll be like, oh yeah, I'll check it out. And I don't always have the same takeaway that he does, but I find it worthwhile to see his opinion on things. Are we done? How are we not done?
We're at 91.
No, I already picked up 10.
You need to have...
There's 101 total, right?
Yeah, 101.
And how
But
many did we give to that guy?
10.
14.
There must be something around. There must be what? Oh God, be careful!
I made it.
Yeah. It says collect all the 101 moonstones on this planet. Do you have to go hand them in to him?
Maybe?
Go hand them in.
Maybe.
Alright. Yeah, so when it comes to critics, I have to find somebody that generally has the same viewpoints on things as me, and then I'll trust them for their opinion. You know?
Better than a 6 out of 7.
Yeah.
We've got more moonstones. No, you have not. What? Existence
Fuck you, Rotten Tomatoes.
is a
This smoothie's
lie.
great.
Sensations are illusions.
I'm gonna punch this guy with a wrench.
Possessions are merely visions.
Oh my God.
Alright, I've got an illusion of some moonstones. I'll trade it for a vision of that hypnomatic part. You have learned much. don't you?
Finally, there's nothing more I could
Bring
teach you.
me
That was
more
perfect bullshit.
moonstones, and riches shall be your reward.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
225,000 bolts. There's one
Money.
moonstone remaining.
Oh.
No, there isn't.
You found a trophy. Bolt it down. Oh no, that's not the moonstone one. Get to it.
I didn't get a skill
There's
point. I didn't get a
one
skill point.
moonstone.
Yeah, get to it. Gotta keep going.
Ah, fuck.
At least you have these boots, the go fast boot. Oh God.
Yeah, I have the go fast boots, which let me get away from the Yetis just long enough to think that I made it, and then they kill me. Alright, keep an eye out. Alright, this is the edge over here. So let's go up.
Living on the edge.
Living in the
I wonder-
fridge. Ugh. Keep an eye out for frozen over ice holes, too.
Yeah. It could be one of those as well. you know,
Remember
with a little
kids,
lizard in it.
if your ice hole is frozen over, see a doctor.
Oh my. Oh. Jeez, Dave.
Don't be an ice hole, kids.
Oh no.
Terrible.
Also, before I forget at the end of the episode, because I will forget at the end of the episode, characters, leave us your favorite horror movie, historical drama, and or SCP in the comments down below. If you don't know what...
Ooh, I'm interested to see what people's favorite SCPs are.
That's that one's kind of, yeah, that'd be kind of interesting.
Where is this stupid crystal? Also, Shield Charger has to kill to get experience because we're not getting experience now. Oh god.
God, that's. But there's no way it's killed a lot of things.
It has-
There's no way
it's-
it has.
I think you have to kill things while it's active.
No,
Oh,
it hasn't.
maybe.
It hasn't gone up at all. That's because these Yetis aren't dying when I hit them.
God, where is the last one hiding?
Wait, is that? Nope.
It looks... No.
What a tease.
Yeah.
Honestly, the Shield Charger kind of trivializes combat when you think about it.
Yeah,
For
but
as long as
imagine
it
trying to
lasts.
do this without it.
Ugh. I really don't hate myself that much.
You're not that much of a masochist.
I'm not even really a masochist. I like overcoming challenges as much as the next guy, but, you know. I turned down Doom Ancient Gods Part 1 twice. Because it wasn't fun.
No, it's not like. Yeah, no.
And hilariously, nobody in the comments gave me shit about it because they were like, yeah, that's fair. So,
I didn't turn out. Well, no, never mind.
I was playing on Ultra Violence.
Yeah, you were
And
playing
then-
on super
Yeah,
hard.
and then I turned it down to
Oh my
normal
God.
for the final boss, and then I turned
Yeah.
it down to easy for the final boss. And it was like, this is still a chore.
Yeah, I did the whole thing on normal for part 1, but I haven't done part 2 still.
But yeah, I played through with Third. I played through Spider-Man 2018 on hard, and now there's like 2 achievements left, which is finish the game on New Game Plus, and finish the game on the very hard difficulty. And I'm like, you know what? I'm good. I got the platinum trophy. I'm having a great time. Where's this fucking crystal?
Man, you don't really traverse this area in a very systematic way, so
Okay,
I
you want
could
me to
not tell you.
Traversing in a systematic way is hard because of the Yeti, but let's try. Alright, so we're going to go around the outer edge here. Keep an eye down them hills. Stop it. I mean, if nothing else, we did get 2 weapons leveled up here, so that's pretty good.
Yeah?
Is that it? No, that's just a flake. Oh my god, does it bounce off freaking walls? Okay.
It does. Oh, well, it will sort of bounce off of walls.
Okay. Going around the edge.
Living on the edge.
Alright. We've been here before.
Yeah.
Ow. Wasn't here.
Fire!
Jesus, look at all these fucking Yetis!
I know, it's painful.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure it's not around the outer edge. Oh, God. Why is this my life? I honestly don't understand how people like the completionists do it. Like, this is madness-inducing.
I don't know, I had time on my hands when I did it, I guess. And I just was careful, I guess, from the start.
Yeah, I
Went into it with them expectations.
No offense, you do kind of just zoom about.
Okay, so we've gone all the way around the edges because I recognize this area.
Yes.
So now we've got to kind of spiral in. Which is not easy because of the hills.
And the Yetis.
And the Yetis.
Oh dear.
It's so fucking hot in my room. God.
I'm very hungry.
I'm so sorry.
Sleepy.
Alright. You know what? Here's what we're gonna do. Next time on Character Select, we will open with a video of me grabbing this stupid crystal.
Oh yeah?
Because I'm gonna go and I'm gonna grind bolts now that I'm a quarter of the way to getting the rhino.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually worth grinding bolts to, get the rhino now.
Yeah.
So, we will open with that. I will do it off camera, but I'll make sure to record it.
I do like the rhino.
And then when we come back,
The
Yeti
rhino
will be
is
no
cool.
longer a problem because, I won't be here. And fucking rhino, You know how you do.
Yeah, alright. I'm down with that.
But thank you very much for watching. Make sure to click that like button down below if you liked it. And... Plasma Storm. Now that we've gotten some more weapons and we've leveled up a whole bunch of them, what is your favorite weapon that you've seen so far?
rocket turrets or sheeps.
It's still the plasma weapon here.
Well,
The plasma coil or the plasma storm, they're both great.
I'm kind of a big fan of the straightforwardness of just nuking somebody with a mega rocket launcher.